In Parliament today, according to Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Heng Keat, a bill setting out details of provisions to meet additional expenditure amounting to $8 billion will be tabled in Parliament next month for debate.
This third Supplementary Supply Bill will go through the usual parliamentary proceedings and has to be assented to by the President. DPM Heng was responding to several MPs who had asked whether the extra $8 billion in COVID-19 support announced last month would be debated in Parliament.
Well, also in Parliament, Manpower Minister Josephine Teo said the 400 firms placed under the Fair Consideration Framework watch list were identified through what she calls proactive surveillance.
These firms are on the watch list for having a high share of foreign PMETs compared to their industry peers or high concentrations of foreign hires from a single source country. Mrs. Teo was asked by various MPs why the 400 firms have not been named.
In the area of FCF, I've suggested of us publicizing, and of course many members of this House as well. If there are actually companies that have been recalcitrant, meaning after 1 year of rehabilitation or assistance, they have not improved, is there a problem publicizing this list of recalcitrant employers?
I think it goes back to what our objective is. If our objective is still to try and get them to improve their HR practices, what is a more effective way of doing so? Naming them or continuing to suspend their work pass privileges? I can share with Mr. Tay that in some instances, the companies have actually decided that it's not possible for them to meet up to these requirements, and they have decided to exit Singapore altogether. And you don't even need to name them. They find that this set of conditions is not what they would like to deal with. We accept that. And whether you name them or not wouldn't have made much of a difference. But the fact that you have curtailed their work pass privileges, that's what has really made the difference.
Mrs. Teo also took a question from opposition MP He Ting-ru about retrenchments and whether the public sector has laid off workers in recent months as the economy worsened. Actually,
public sector has leaned forward to bring hiring in advance of our needs. Quite a large number of the positions that are made available to job seekers are public sector having looked at their developmental plans and deciding that instead of hiring 6 months, 9 months later, bring it forward so that the job seekers can have a wider range of options and they can also have meaningful employment during this much more difficult time.
Now, MPs have spent the last week debating the government's response to COVID-19 and the many challenges we face.
That's right. Well, National Development Minister Desmond Lee telling the House, while Singaporeans are understandably concerned, the nation is starting from a position of strength.
This crisis is neither a pause nor a rewind for Singapore. Instead, if we face this with the right spirit, we can turn this to a fast forward. Reimagine new industries and markets for Singapore, learn new skills and discover new careers for ourselves and our children. And even as we deal with present challenges, we must prepare ourselves for the longer term. We must keep our resolve and look forward to emerging as a stronger society.
Meanwhile, there are increasing calls for parliamentary proceedings to be shown live for everyone to watch. Opposition leader Pritam Singh is among those in favour of such broadcasts.
Addressing the issue today, Communications and Information Minister S.S. Warren said the government agrees in principle to live streaming, but still holds reservations.
The debate in Parliament should be vigorous, but the tone should be sober. An element of cut and thrust is unavoidable, even necessary, because members want to show Singaporeans that their concerns are being expressed and questions asked and answered in Parliament. However, it is equally important that members come to grips with the issues and their complexities and not simply play to the gallery.
But it is our view that that element of theatre will be exposed also. And the public will conclude fairly quickly, if not immediately, fairly quickly, who is here to turn Parliament into a theatre and who is here to be serious about Parliament